Two of the most scary things that can happen in a wood shop are injuries and fire, and tools could be the main cause of that. They could fail and cause a fire or fail and cause an injury. Recently, DeWalt recalled 1.4 million of these style miter saws because of a safety hazard. And when that come out, I thought, what other tools have been recalled? So I did a little research, and what I found was quite shocking, actually. If you don't have this DeWalt miter saw and you're not interested in the recall, I'll put the timestamp right there where you can just jump right ahead to the recalls on the other tools we're going to talk about today. Recalls, recall. I'll tell you about how to find out if your tools have been recalled for safety hazards, but first, let's talk about the elephant on the workbench, the DeWalt DWS-779. I've had this miter saw for over 5 years. But recently, DeWalt announced the recall of this model, the DWS-779, as well as its big brother, the DWS-780, and the cordless version, DHS-790. DeWalt recalled these model saws because of that piece right there. On some models, these are plastic. Mine is metal. But this plastic piece, if a piece of wood hits that, could shatter. Now, how do you know if your DeWalt miter saw has been recalled? Well, there's a date code and a serial number on the top, or a date code and a model number right on top here, and that's where you're going to need to check and see if yours falls within the range. So the date codes 2019-04 through 2022-04 are the only ones affected. Thankfully, my saw, as you can see right here on top, is 2016-20. This is an older model, but it's not affected. So apparently at some point they changed the way they were making these things and replaced this metal piece with a plastic piece that was not a good idea, obviously, because 1.4 million saws times however much that costs is what they're going to have to basically fork out. If your DeWalt miter saw is one of those in the affected range, DeWalt recommends you stop using it immediately. They take it very seriously that this could cause serious injury, so you should too. Now be sure and use that link in the description to find out if you can get a replacement part for yours if it's affected. So how do you know if one of your tools or your battery chargers or even your batteries to your tools have been recalled? Well, if you're in the US, there's a very simple way to do that. Just go to cpsc.gov on your laptop, phone, whatever device you use to access the internet. The way I've been finding them, which really shocked me on how many were out there and the type of stuff. Let's take DeWalt. All you have to do is go to this little search bar right here and type in DeWalt and then hit search. That will bring up all recalls for the DeWalt has ever had, as far back as I know. If you scroll down, you can, on the third one, it's showing 1.4 million miter saws due to an injury or laceration hazard. So it's going to tell you why there's a recall and what the possible outcome is going to be if it's not fixed. Some of these are really old. You can click on this one, October 12th of 2000. DeWalt recalled battery chargers. Way back in 2007, they recalled some generators for a shock hazard. Ryobi is a very popular brand, so we'll try those. When I search Ryobi, there's battery chargers that I've seen in people's shops on YouTube as well as on people's pictures that I don't know if they're the same ones, but you need to check. This battery charger it's a little dated, being 2013, about 9 years ago, but there's still a bunch of these in circulation. I know there is. They've sold over 500,000 of those because 578,000 have been recalled. The hazard is they can malfunction, causing fires in your shop or burn hazards. And I'll go ahead and say it again, as I've said it before, never, ever, ever, ever leave your batteries charging in the charger. It's just not a good idea. There's no reason to do it. Put them in there while you're in the shop, let them charge, and then take them out. I've seen way too many pictures on Instagram of people's stories about their shops catching on fire because of a faulty charger or battery. Please, just take them out. They have a portable table saw that was recalled for laceration hazards. You can check on that. Some of their throat plates were recalled because of laceration hazards. Cordless drill for fire hazards. Again, all of these recalls will tell you the recourse that you can take. It'll also tell you if there's any injuries reported, like right here, incidents and injuries. On this battery charger, 25 reports of overheating, resulting reports of property damage in the charger and its surroundings. It tells you where they were sold at. They'll also provide you a consumer contact for that tool, no matter what brand it is. Right here, it's their website as well as a phone number that you can call. Then that way you can work through the recall process on your tool. DeWalt and Ryobi are not alone in the recalls. Just about any tool manufacturer, if they've been in business very long, have recalled a bunch of stuff. Festool has recalls on there. Makita has recalls. Bosch, Milwaukee, and Skil has several recalls, even one that has over 800,000 units sold of a Skil circular saw. So there's tons of these tools out there that could possibly be dangerous if you don't get them fixed. And Harbor Freight is on here as well. They got tons and tons of stuff on here if you look. Fall hazards, fire hazards, burn hazards, and the list goes on and on and on and on. You can go and check out your specific tools on this website. I strongly encourage you to do that. You can also find recalls directly on the tool manufacturer's website like DeWalt, Ryobi, Makita, Bosch, and many others. One thing to keep in mind when searching for tools and things like that on this website is it may not be the tool name that shows up. You may need to search for the parent company. For instance, a lot of those may be under One World Technologies. They're the holding company for TTI, who owns all those companies. It's like a pyramid. So TTI is Tektronix Industries. They actually own Milwaukee, Ryobi, Homelight, Hilti, Hart, just tons of brand names under one single company. And if you've ever wondered what the name of the parent company is of the brands you have in your shop, Pro Tool Reviews did an amazing job on breaking this down for us. I'll drop a link in the description below to their blog post on this, where they actually have a video as well tied to it. One thing that kind of opened my mind about tool sales as far as how many of these things are selling is the DeWalt 779. They recalled models from 2019 through 2020, 04. That's 3 years, and they're recalling 1.4 million units at an average of probably $600, because the 779 is $600, 780 is $700 and something, and then the cordless one's $750 on average. We'll be generous and do 1.4 million times $500. $700 million. $700 million in sales on one tool. Well, one line of tools. So, wow. I think recalls are a good thing. Just because you see your tool on a recall list doesn't mean you have a bad tool company that you're buying from. It just means that there's one of three things going on. Either the tool company caught the problem and then corrected it on their own. The government is making them correct it because they've been aware of it, or unfortunately someone has gotten injured or property damage has occurred and they've been sued or a lawsuit is pending, so they're trying to fix it to mitigate the damages there. But ultimately, if you see a recall on your tool, I think that's proactive on the company's part, whether that's forced or not, and then we get to get better quality tools because of that. Really, there's no way to know exactly how many people have been injured or how much property damage has occurred due to failing tools because they're faulty. But there is a website called the National Electronic Injury Surveillance System, or NEISS for short, that you can actually run queries on, you can run searches on to figure out what tools are causing the most injuries. It's extremely interesting. I ran one on just batteries and chargers just to see, because I kind of assume if it's a battery and charger, it's probably an injury due to the failing of that battery. My theory may be way off. It may be people are shocking themselves or something. But these are all that go to the emergency room. These are estimates. Over 17,000 people were injured just in 2021 with batteries and chargers. That got me thinking, what about all woodworking tools or woodworking style tools in a garage shop like this? So I ran a search on that and the number astounded me. Over 240,000 people went to emergency services from being injured by some sort of tool in their shop. Ooh, you guys be careful out there. I'll put a link in the description below to this website if you want to play with it yourself. I would love to know if any of your tools have been recalled. If they have, drop that in the comments below, what your tool was and when the recall was. And if you found it by using this tool I showed you today. I have an email newsletter that I send out a couple times a week that notifies you of new content, new sales, and new products that are on our store, which you can find easy to follow build plans there. If you'd like to sign up for that, there's a link in the description below. Click that box, you get a big old virtual fist bump.